And we are going to go right into game 2 right now with a Shaman being chosen as the deck against Hunter.
Wow, DominosPizza, no fear. Shaman versus Hunter, generally considered a poor matchup, but he's confident enough to think that he can at least get this game and probably figures that Shaman will also be his best chance for game 3.
That's a bit of a surprise. Before this tournament, I was actually thinking, well, Shaman's in a poor place right now because, whoa, Bloodlust, because it gets countered by Hunter, doesn't it? Because
countered by
right,
Hunter.
your totems are just bait for all the doggies.
Yeah, and I, considered it about the same, that you get countered in a way by Hunter. But I've talked to some players who I respect very much, and they believe that, built a certain way, that Shaman actually has a great chance, maybe even slightly favored against Hunter. I don't know if I would go so far as to say that it's slightly favored, but there's no doubt that Shaman, at least if built with Hunter in mind, has a good chance against it.
Dominus, considering two main lines of play here. One is the hero ability, and one is the coin animal companion. The animal companion play is stronger on this turn, but the problem is there is no turn 3 play afterwards.
Yeah, he's going to either have to have no turn 2 or turn 3, though. The thing is that if he decides to have no turn 2, he gets to hold on to the coin, which could have some value later. But either way, I think it's okay. It sort of depends on what he draws, and that's something you can't really know yet. He decides he wants the immediate action, and he ends up with Leok, which is not bad. It means that now that Haunted Creeper can't kill the Web Spinner and stay alive, so he'll get to at least kill the front end of the Haunted Creeper.
That's right. DominosPizza with a Lightning Bolt. He is really hoping to have a spell damage totem here if he's going to press that button. And no.
Tauntarino. Not bad.
Yep.
He decides for the Lightning Bolt. Is that, would you have just Earth Shocked, or would you have Lightning Bolted that, do you think?
I think I would have made the same play.
I certainly would have considered it. I think I might have as well. The Web Spinner's not going to make it through the Taunt Totem. It means that you're going to get one more block, sort of, out of your Taunt Totem. And you still can Earth Shock next turn if that's what you want to do.
Right. One of the things that DominosPizza has to be concerned about right now is the number of things he's got on the board. So if he gets Unleash the Hounds, it's going to look pretty ugly. So he's going to probably be looking to trade off his guys.
He's considering it now. He's deciding if he wants to go into the face or not.
It's got to be into the Creeper because, one, you save your Taunt Totem. Two, one less guy.
Yeah, the risk of Houndmaster is also really high.
Man, we got another King Crush.
Wow, we get to maybe have
that?
another chance at a King Crush game. It could happen. Could happen. Web Spinner is one of my favorite cards, by the way. As far as cards that have random effects on them, I feel like Web Spinner is really amazing, and I really love it a lot. So Web Spinner is really cool. And he picks up a second Web Spinner, so you could even slam another one down right now.
Yeah, it looks like the only valid play right now is Web Spinner hero ability.
Yeah, there's not much else to do. He doesn't have Unleash the Hounds or anything like that yet. So DominosPizza is holding a Bloodlust. That incentivizes him to play as many minions as he can. And this game so far, as we know, he won't get punished for it. Dominus, considering even just playing a Houndmaster into this empty board, he would like to have some kind of presence. Hunter's Mark, Kill Command, Leroy, those don't really do anything by themselves right here. His opponent is not low enough to think about Leroy. And he really just doesn't have a great play. If he plays the Web Spinner, it's really for the promise of something else.
Right.
And playing towards future turns. But he got King Crush 2 times in a row now. He might just get an Angry Chicken this time.
One of the things when I'm playing the Shaman side, especially against Hunter, is to think about, do I want to even worry about Unleash the Hounds? At some point, especially with the Bloodlust in hand, sometimes you just have to play the game. Oh my gosh, another legendary. We've got my Exna through the Web Spinner, but sometimes you just have to spam all your guys on the board and be like, well, if he's got Unleash the Hounds, I'll be in a bad spot. But sometimes the Hunter does not hold it in the hand, in which case I'll win the game.
There's nothing wrong with going for it, especially if you feel like it's an unfavored matchup. You want to give yourself the best chance to win the game. And you don't win if you don't try to win.
Right.
So there are certainly circumstances. He actually does, Dominus does pick up Unleash the Hounds. So it wasn't there before. It's here now. He doesn't have a buzzard or anything really super powerful to go with it. And that Spectral Knight is actually looking really, really annoying right now.
That's right.
Hunter's Mark, Kill Command, they can't deal with that.
But you know what can deal with it? My Exna.
Leroy Jenkins as well. My Exna is actually a great answer. DominosPizza is holding a Hex back over there in his 4-card hand. So my Exna will not necessarily be the best answer this game, but it could be if he can bait out Hex from something else.
Yeah, and the bad news for Dominus is that he had no good play on turn 4 or turn 5. And sometimes you just flub, especially because of the web spinner. It gave 2 really high-cost cards.
Yeah, he would have had to just, again, he maybe even considered the Houndmaster into an empty board. Yet again, not an exciting play, not one that you normally want to make.
Right, and a big problem with playing against that against the Shaman is the Shamans have so many ways to deal 3 damage. DominosPizza really developing his board. 4 guys. That's a really sweet Hound target. But fortunately for DominosPizza, Dominus does not have a Hound combo.
I love saying DominosPizza right now. Unfortunately, I do like his name, but it's got to be the people over there at DominosPizza are probably really happy about his battle tag name now.
Oh boy, we've got another guy, Blood Mage Stalnos. So there is the potential to do Blood Mage Stalnos, Totem, Hex for 6 guys out on the board.
You sure could do that. That would be very, very powerful if they live long enough to hit that Bloodlust.
That's right. Okay, so we're going to go with the Bloodlust immediately. And
I like this play too. It does save his Hex for something like a Savannah Highmane that he might be worried about. And he doesn't have another great answer to something like Savannah Highmane. Right. So, and it lets him use his Nerubian Egg now, which is something he would have wanted to do when he got a chance.
Yep. Also, he traded down the board in case of Starving Buzzard, Unleash the Hounds, which Dominus actually just drew into.
So I don't know if he's playing an Owl. If he were to Buzzard, Unleash, and find an Ironbeak Owl off of the top of his deck within the first 3 cards, I think he might have a chance to get back into this game. He's been behind the whole time, and the Shaman player has had this great board presence.
Right.
And Dominus has had multiple turns of hero power go, which is not usually what you want to be doing. But if he can clear out at least one of these minions, even just using the Hunter's Mark on the Nerubian might be good enough, maybe, to hold off just long enough for some of these really powerful plays to start coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I think he needs to just play the Unleash and the Buzzard right now so you can see what he draws into. He's taking his time, which I can appreciate as a slow player myself. This is kind of necessary in order to take out the 1/1 and the 4/4.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to get better than this. And he doesn't really have a winning hand yet. And so the best way to find it theoretically would be Buzzard Unleash.
Right. Dominus is going to have quite a few. Oh, is he? Okay. Didn't matter the order, I believe.
No, he would not have overdrawn, so I don't believe he had to do it that way. But now he's under pressure from the rope, so he's going to be going through these turns a little more quickly. Freezing
really
Trap is one of the best things he could have had.
Yeah, Hunter might be able to stabilize off of that one.
DominosPizza. How do you finish off this game?
Oh, that's a way to do it.
Doomhammer sure does represent a lot of damage. 1 of his Lightning Bolts and 1 of his Rock Fighter weapons are gone. So he decides to use the Storm to clear out, and he finds out that it is Freezing Trap, which is unfortunate. He would have preferred that it be explosive.
Right.
The Doomhammer itself represents 16 damage, and his opponent was at 15. So if he lives long enough, he'll be able to win just off of that. Dominus has a Houndmaster though, so there's more than one way that he can stop that Doomhammer damage. If he finds something like Misha or any minion, any beast minion that can work with that Houndmaster.
Right, one of the big things that Dominus has to be thinking about though is basically he is dead in 3 turns at best, and probably 2 turns if he's thinking generously. So at this point, you have to start doing reverse math and start theorizing how you can finish off your opponent in 2 turns. Now I've got King Crush happening on the next turn. So that's 8 damage. Your opponent is basically at 15. And can you do 15 damage this turn? Unfortunately, not quite.
No, you can't kill your opponent next turn from Dominus's position, and he knows that. But I think you still have to, now that that consistent threat of damage is there in the Doomhammer, I would have to imagine that it's got to be now to start pushing through. And he actually decides to play defensively. He goes for the 4-3 taunt instead of playing like the bow and a trap and a hero power.
Oh,
and his
man.
opponent draws a Rock Biter. So perhaps it's actually going to work out quite well. Even just going Hex this turn and attacking your opponent down to 9 threatens to kill him next turn if they don't present another taunt.
Correct. The thing about Hunters, and this is kind of their weakness, is they don't run that many taunts, and they don't run any heal. So usually what you see is what you get. If you do the Hex and the hit the frog and the face, it's not that likely that your opponent has an answer.
The Shaman had such a strong start this game, and the Hunter looked like they were going to be able to turn it around, but Doomhammer came at the exact right time to keep that pressure going. And we'll see if he comes up with a line of play that can get him to win next turn.
Right.
Decides to play Blood Mage and Rock Biter now instead. I have to admit, I don't agree with this line of play, but it could still work out. He does still get his opponent down quite low, but
unless
he took.
Oh no!
He used his Rock Biter to deal 8 to himself.
That's right.
And not chip away at his opponent. So
it was looking really good for the Shaman until that turn. Now he's run out of damage potential. He can only do 6 damage next turn. And when we look at Dominus's hand, he just drew the 2nd kill command.
Definitely, probably one of the first clear misplays of the tournament. I think that DominosPizza almost certainly would have won the game, and I'm not sure what he was afraid of enough that he wanted to clear out both of his opponent's minions with basically the only things he had to win the game with.
Right, not to mention, if he's expecting to die the next turn, then it's pointless because you take the damage anyways by hitting him with the weapon. And you're setting up to win the turn after, so the most times you will take the damage is one time anyways.
Just that one time anyways, yes. And, you know, if he had hexed away the taunt and attacked the taunt and the player, his opponent would have been at 9, and he would have had 10 damage ready to go.
Right.
If his opponent didn't have a great answer. Considering how scared he played last turn, that he left a mana floating to taunt probably the beast you least want to taunt in your whole deck.
Yes.
Being the Starving Buzzard, usually you want to draw off that. Even a Haunted Creeper would have been much better from the Hunter's perspective. I really would have tried to just go for the win. Looks like he's going to push through as much damage as he can, is Dominus. And he's not really afraid of the minions because he's got that explosive trap. He decides, instead of attacking the face, he decides to attack the minion. That's a little bit suspect because, again, the trap theoretically would have taken care of it.
Right. He's afraid that the spell damage might be the relevant to it. And he figures, I've got 1,000,000 damage next turn. Oh, like at worst, he's got the King Crush for 11 with the bow.
DominosPizza did draw Lightning Bolt, so the spell damage would have been at least somewhat relevant. Not enough to win the game outright, but it would have mattered. He actually picks up a Taunt Totem, which is pretty helpful. That's about the best he could have hoped for. Ooh, he's going to consider attacking into the face right away. Oh no. Oh,
ouch.
Disaster.
That was...
This is going to force him to Lightning Bolt Leroy instead of using the minions to clear it. He also totemed first. Yes. Which means that Taunt Totem is just gone. Perhaps it's nerves getting to him. He gets his opponent to 3, and he would have been able to kill him this turn. He decides to concede. He sees the writing on the wall.
That's right. Unfortunate. DominosPizza let this one slip away from him. And Dominus is the winner as a result, and that's our 4th 2-0.